Welcome to the countdown. While you wait for the show to begin, try to relax, grab a drink, sit down, and just enjoy the music.
Yeah. Ooh, whoa.
Don't Christina it out.
Okay.
A little bit of bland goes a long, long way. If you believe everything is okay, a little bit of bland goes a long, long way. Sign the lease, bring the rigs today. Everybody say money, love, money, honey, more money, money, more money, money, more money, money, more money, money.
She looks metallic.
Though I can't quite recall overnight sensation.
Hello. Looks like we are finally here for good. Are we back? You remember the stream like 4 months ago when I said, hey, we are back. I have a lot of things prepared. Well, I hope we're back for good this time. So, I want to start by thanking all of you for being here, by thanking all of the people who kept around in the Discord, even though I didn't publish much in the past 6, 7, 8 months. It's been kind of a long time. There has been a lot going on, some adjustment to be made, and we'll see how it goes. We see how we can keep on the show, how we can keep being together every Sunday, and somehow find a compromise so that I can still keep doing this show, but without overworking a little bit too much, which is a little bit of a problem because much of that work is actually what creates the base of this show, which is researching into the edit to find out what actually goes on, especially, you know, when WoW pulls a WoW and start throwing people under the bus. Who said we love you, Grandpa? Multipansy, thank you. Thank you so much. But we will see. We'll see what happens. I kind of have a feeling that I don't know how to do this anymore. It's been like a very long time. Well, first of all, let's greet everybody in the chat. Since we always do that, we will continue doing that. I will forget some, of course, but welcome to Zoe, Corinne, Living Wonder, Random Furby, Beverly Steele, NB, Berethor, Tukia, Daisy, David Sending, Matteo, Jules, Christos, Estella Messi, I like the name, Limonin, Nerdigans, Multipansy, Ferroin, Orchidude, Sen, Kashmir Kitty, D15, Romans, Folani, Johnny Boitoy, Pau Pau, that one mom friend, that's a good thing. I whore, I don't know how to pronounce that. It sounds like I'm insulting myself, even though it was true at one time. Martina Sullivan, Amateur Season, Beverly Steer, Exo Not the Bird, Amir Head, Apathetic, Angel Ham. There is a ton of you. I seriously didn't expect so many people to tune in. Sorry, my talking is going to be interesting. I didn't expect so many of you to tune in. I mean, I really appreciate it. I'm really grateful for that. But, you know, judging by the way YouTube has been behaving, and the fact that when you don't publish much, inevitably that's how, you know, the gig works, makes me really happy. Thank you. Thank you, really. I wish I had prepared a little bit more things as a proper thank you, but we'll see what we have. I saw. There's a super chat from Dominic. Thank you so much. I don't know what PLN is, but I do appreciate the support for the channel. Thank you. Thank you so much. So, before we begin with the review, let's make a little bit the point of the situation. So, we have the chop for season 15, and we will have it only for season 15, since it's a weekly thing and it's something that I want to do and that I will take time to actually do it. But it also it's kind of tiring in a way. So having it confined in a very short period of time, only for very short relatively, but only for this season, it's like saying, okay, we do this in this way and then it goes. And then after that, we can have still live stream with other things. I don't know, maybe we can discuss things that happen on Reddit, for example, since there is so much going on every single day. We can comment on that, we can discuss on that. Also because there are many people who don't necessarily come to Discord. So this Sunday live stream is really the moment in which we can group together. So I don't want to take it away anymore. I will do an effort to be here. It's fun also for me. What's not fun is like, oh my god, it's in 5 hours. I'm missing so much material. Okay, so thank you, Nerdigans. Thank you so much. As usual, remember, comments. If you want me to read your comments, if you want me to see it at top RPDR videos, it will be highlighted for me. If there is somebody who does not know the show, remember this is a non-spoiler show. I didn't even watch the Meet the Queens just because I like to watch this show completely blind and get my impression of the queens directly from the edit that comes from the show. So please, no spoiler unless something major happens that never happened before, like with Shitty Pie, for example. But no spoilers. We don't do that. But we do speculations. That we do. Steph Gray for £5. Thank you so much. Really missed your streams. So excited for this season. I like the cast. I'm very pumped up about, well, most of the cast. I'm pumped up about most of the cast. Now, what can I tell you about this season 15? Like, right out of the bat. To me, the casting that they did was a really good job. I mean, Drag Race, many people think about Drag Race as a competition. And between you and me, we all know that it's a competition until a certain point. The Drag Race that we have today is mostly not our way, but a beacon, something that is normalizing being gay, being a drag queen, something that it's bringing at least a good part of our culture to the big screen, to the big public. It helps other people understand our issues. It helps other people, well, those who want to understand, to get to know who we are. That, I mean, after all, we are all human. We are all the same people. We might be gay or lesbians or trans men, trans women, or trans fluid, but you know, we are a community. We are a whole big community, and together with the rest of the world, we are a bigger community. So this is what Drag Race does today. At least to me, this is the real importance of Drag Race. So having this cast with big queens, thin queens, white queens, Latinas, and Asian queens, finally. It's time to bring the Asians back to RuPaul's Drag Race. We even have a trans woman. It's a good casting. And I hope that there will be a good chemistry between all of these queens, and that World of Wonder doesn't fuck it up. Because last season, if you care to remember, season 14, the cast was amazing. There were a ton of missed opportunities on those casts, despite the fact that they dragged along the season for 2,000 episodes. So I hope that they learned from that and they can evolve based on that. Because remember, we criticized Drag Race but we do it with the purpose of making it better, not just for the sake of spitting on someone. Because, I mean, even if you would like that, there are much easier things to take on if you are that kind of person that you enjoy that. But that's the basic gist of it. Now, how long is going to be this season? That's the million-dollar question. Well, if we judge by the past seasons, which means an order from VH1 of 16 episodes, which is 14 competitive episodes, a reunion, and an edited live finale. Let me tell you like that. Edited live finale. We are going to basically need one more episode at some point, because we had 2 premieres. One was basically a non-elimination episode, and so in order to get to the magic number that is 16, we are probably going to need a double Shantae. Then at that point, if somebody injures herself and needs to leave the competition, then we will probably have to have another non-elimination episode. Same thing happens if they do a double elimination. We will have to add another episode, another non-elimination episode, in order to maintain the magic number. Because remember, VH1 paid for a specific number, so that is what has to be delivered. And that is as much that I can say based on this. Oh, also, maybe they ordered more episodes. Maybe instead of 16, we're going to have 18, and we will all be very excited about that. But we will see. We will see what happens. Felicia, a Polynesian queen. Thank you, Felicia. I'm sorry, I'm not connecting properly lately, so feel free to correct me in the chat. It's not a problem. I'm happy about it. Fulani, no chocolate bar. Well, there was a cameo of the chocolate bar, wasn't it? Papao says top 5 again. I don't think so. I think that they realized that they really fucked it up. Like last year, they really fucked it up. Like, they had all of the means to have an amazing season, and it was a little bit messy. I think that they didn't realize that queens that they absolutely wanted in the top 5 didn't really resonate with the fan base, and the 2 queens who were actually up for the 4th spot were the ones that people resonated with the most. So they were kind of left with a top 5. It can be that they keep a top 5 to the finale. It can be, especially because we have 16 queens. I don't think so. But, you know, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. That's just how it is. San, for $5, I am so excited to see your live streams and your beautiful voice again, Top. Well, I don't know about the beautiful voice. Thank you. So, how did you like these 2 premieres? I want to know your opinions before I tell you mine. Well, you already know mine. I'm kind of pumped about this season. I hope it's going to be a better version of what we got last year, because they are getting better. I mean, when you think about it, season 13 was a train wreck. Then season 14 was already better. Maybe season 15 is going to be even better. Judging by the fact that they sandwiched, I don't know if many of you know this, but for those who are not from the US, when people from the US watch Drag Race, after Drag Race, they have to wait and watch, hopefully, another show called, I think, Friends of West Hollywood, featuring Todrick Hall. And then after that, they get to see Untucked. So it feels to me like VH1 is like making a bet. They're like, Drag Race is so good, Drag Race is doing so well that we can even split the main episode from Untucked in order to push another show in the middle. A show featuring Todrick Hall, which, if you know your history, I don't know if that is a very wise business decision. But, you know, I am me, and I am no proof of good business if you judge by my channel. So, but I mean, it's at least questionable. If I was from the US, I would be like, okay, I'll set an alarm on my phone. Stop saying VH1. Is it not on VH1? Is it? Oh shit, it's on MTV. Oh my god. Oh my god, when did this happen? When did this happen? It's MTV now. Oh, well, MTV is still owned by, Viacom CBS. So it's always in the same family. So they got kicked off of VH1. Oh my God, I'm out of the loop. Oh my God, I'm out of the loop. Well, that's not a good thing, is it? I mean, VH1 it's like the flag channel of Viacom CBS. So being demoted to MTV is not exactly a good thing. Maybe they thought that sandwiching Todrick in between Drag Race would bring up Drag Race? I don't know, I'm really puzzled. But I'll go into it. I'll get into it this week and then tell you next week what I think about it. Oh my God, this is bad. This is bad. We need to save Drag Race. We really need to save Drag Race. Wait a moment. Honeybee says MTV is an upgrade. Romans, do you think all the winners' queens are salty that their special winner's prize is now the regular price, $200,000? No, I think it was time to raise the prize. It's been time for a long time. So I don't really think that anybody is really salty about $200,000 after taxes. Is not that much money for these people. I mean, between you and me, it's a ton of fucking money. But for them, that they have like their drag business, it's at a very high level. They have big earnings. They also have big expenses. So I don't know if it was $1 million, maybe. Yes, probably. But no, I don't think so. Johnny Boito, it should be 1 million. I agree. Half a million. Now, a lot of people say that MTV, it's kind of an upgrade. Honestly, I don't know, because I don't have any data to actually get an idea of how much money MTV brings into the Viacom CBS corporation so that we can say, oh yes, it's better, or oh yes, it's worse. Because otherwise it's just a matter of perception. My perception is that MTV is a step down. Your perception might be different, but we won't know if any one of us is right unless we see the numbers, unless we can find a way to see which one of the two channels are more profitable for the company. And once we establish that, we can actually understand a little bit more if they still believe in Drag Race or they are starting to slowly phasing it down. So we'll see about that. Papao says they want to touch a younger audience. You know what? That makes sense. Does MTV have a younger audience? I don't know, because I don't watch VH1 or MTV. So I have no idea about that. But the theme of younger audience, it's basically the theme of these two premieres. I don't know if anybody noticed that. So let's dive into these two episodes and let's try to be polite, a little bit shady, yes, of course, in good heart, but let's try to be more polite than what you hear when you see me and my partner watching the show. So, during the first episode, we have two different groups of queens that get introduced. They get introduced, they do the mini challenge, the photo shoot, they immediately get in together. They are grouped all together. I think this is a step forward. I was not a particular fan of all the bullshit that they did in season 13 with the pork chop lounge and trying to find ways to make this premieres as gaggy as possible. I'm not a big fan of that. So this was a very classic premiere, if you ask me. A little bit of an evolution of the classic premieres, because what really counts is the entrances. So I'm happy that they split them a little bit, but not too much to make them feel as two different groups. So in this manner, I think World of Wonder kind of listened to the feedback that has been given to them by me, by multiple other channels, by multiple people on Reddit, on Twitter. The split premiere works as long as you don't try to antagonize the two groups. That's the basic thing. And I think they achieved that in this first two premieres. So for these groups, we have Irene, which is first in and first out. She is going to be the narrator of the episode. She's basically going to comment on everybody in kind of a shitty way. I didn't mind it. I thought it was entertaining. Also because I see that, I mean, what kind of spite could you have in episode 1? And it's kind of her drag persona. But her job for this episode is really being the narrator. Every 5 minutes, you can see a confessional from Irene, either introducing the storyline for somebody or setting up the introduction for somebody else's storyline. So, since she has been the first one to go home, we will talk about it later as well, but I can tell you, I don't think she's coming back. I don't think she's coming back. The editing is telling a very, very compelling story. She was the narrator for this episode. They used her for a job. The job was introducing other queens who will get a character development. So, speaking of introducing storylines, the moment she comes in, she has a moment of light shade with Lux. And this, for me, is the very first introduction of the Young versus Hold theme that goes on throughout the whole 2 episodes. This is something that we saw many times on Drag Race. It's a theme that they have. Most of the times, they will try to kind of facilitate a confrontation between the 2 generations. Is it a compelling narrative? I don't know. It can be. It can also be very cheap. It depends on how you manage it. But I think that this theme is very present and it gets reinforced continuously, either through Lux or either through the twins. We are going to talk about the twins a little bit because this premiere kind of felt like the Sugar and Spice show. There is a reason for that. We're going to discuss that. We're going to talk about that. We're going to have a good laugh about that. And, you know, we'll get to it. We'll definitely get to it. Now, Lux. Lux is one of only 3 queens between 21 and 23 years old, which makes her the best candidate for the Young and Talented. We didn't have a Young and Talented last season, so either this could mean that they moved away from that character. I'm saying character because these are really characters on television. I'm not referring to the queens. So either we got away from that, or they are going, or what happened last year was an exception and not a rule. If they do have a Young and Talented, I can give you already my prediction. For me, is Lux. There is no way they're going to bring Sugar and Spice because I think they have another plan for them. Now, Princess Poppy, she is featured talking a lot about TikTok. This fucking TikTok, every 3 queens that come in, they get hair time talking about TikTok. And production spent a lot of time either creating animations or showing pictures. It's like production is trying to say, hey, TikTok fans, we are Drag Race, and we have some of the people that you like. Why don't you tune in to watch our show as well? Which is something that it's a smart move, surely. It's a business move. And it's something that started a long time ago. If you remember in season 7, we had Miss Fame, and she received a lot of shit for the fact that she was a more modern kind of queen. She was very social media oriented. She referred herself as a brand, and she didn't do many live shows. That was not really her thing. But she had a very strong social media presence on Instagram. So this thing that Drag Race is doing is a smart thing, but nevertheless, it's a business move. These queens could have spent 3 seconds saying that they have a following on TikTok and close it there. But we hear the name TikTok a lot. We also see a lot of clips from the app. That didn't happen by chance. Now, the nice part of me tells me that it's just a business move. They just want to capitalize on a younger and different audience. Then there is another little voice in my head that tells me paid promotion, undisclosed paid promotion. So I don't know about that. I don't know. We'll see. And I can give you a hint of that. So, Princess Poppy, she basically disappeared from both of the premiere. I don't know if you noticed that. Of course, there is 16 queens. You cannot focus on everyone all of the time. But she was one of the very few queens who completely disappears during both of the premiere. And it's 2 hours. So it kind of makes sense until a certain point, because when she finally comes and has her talent, she does really, really well. But she is not even put in the top for that. So this is not a very good start. This is not a good start to begin with. Who else do we have? Sasha Colby. I can tell you, when I saw Sasha, when she opened her mouth to speak, because this is the point, when she opened her mouth to speak, I was like, yes, of course you are the mother of Carrie. She has a poise, she has a maturity, she is very appealing to me. I'm going to tell you that. She is very, and it's not just like because she kind of looks like Madonna in the 80s in her confessionals, not just because of that. But she has an appeal. You can definitely see that how much that we saw of Carrie came from her. So it's a good thing. It's a good thing. Then we have Marsha. Now, Marsha, the first thing that we heard is that she looks like Jan. Did you notice that? That they say, oh my God, she kind of looks like Jan. She is kind of basic. This is something that is repeated in the rehearsal as well. So I don't know if they're trying to make a connection with Jan, trying to give her kind of a Jan edit. To me, she didn't remind me of Jan at all. To me, she reminded me of Pinocchio from Canada. So I should stop using the made-up names because people don't know who I'm talking about and I get to forget the real names. Oh, good Lord. Okay. Do I like Marsha? Yes. Yes, a lot. I don't care if the look is basic. She looks like an angel to me. So. Then we have Baby Doll. Baby Doll is one of the 3 big queens. And as you know, we do have a representation spot for a big queen. Hopefully. Hopefully. That's what we usually do. I don't think she's necessarily the best candidate for that, mostly based on the fact that during the episode, the introduction that we get, remember, this is very, very early, so there is really no way to tell. But out of the 3 big girls that we have in there, she was given the least character development, and she was kind of used to reinforce other people's storylines. And that's kind of a problem, because if you are used to define somebody else, it takes away attention from you in order to bring it to somebody else. So it's the first 2 episodes, it's impossible to tell, but right out of the bat, I can tell you, if they have a representation spot for a big queen, I don't think it's going to be Baby Doll. And then we have Anitra. Anitra kind of flew under the radar, which was a very wise choice, editing-wise, because the moment you don't show much about her, and then she comes out with that winner talent show, she pops off of the screen. This episode, the editing of Anitra in this episode was done specifically to have her pop during the show. I don't know if this has a meaning in the long term, or if they wanted, I don't know, to justify the choices that they made for the winner, which doesn't really seem realistic, because I think we can all agree there could have been only one winner for that talent show. But it was a smart move to ever be so hidden during the edit, to not see so much about her. And the moment you get to see something of her, you're going to pay attention. And gosh, what we saw was amazing. She was amazing. She was amazing. Let's move on to group number 2. Now we have Selena Estides. She is the second big girl. The problem is she's Latina, she's very loud, and she's very outspoken. And if you watch this show, that's not a good thing. It's a good thing for me. I like it. It's not a good thing on Drag Race because it doesn't usually end well. So this is the reason why I don't think that if they have representation spot in the top 4, that spot is going to be hers. I don't think so. I don't think so. Then we have Amethyst. She's the second TikTok queen. Of course, we get to see her talking about TikTok. We get to see some clips. You know the gist. We really want to appeal to the younger generation and the big fan base of the app. So we're going to talk about it. It's kind of shameless in a way. I mean, that's business. It's, by God. Sen, I think you forgot Aura. Did I forgot Aura? I did forgot Aura. She didn't leave any impression on me whatsoever. Was Aura there? Yes, she was. I'm sorry, 16 queens. I cannot be. It happens. It happens. Shit happens. Nerdigans, apparently Anitra's is India Farah's drag daughter. My God, it's really... You know how they say that the younger generation always brings everything a step forward? That's kind of what I think is happening there. I forgot about Aura. Sorry, Aura. Nothing against you. It just looks like she slipped out of her mind. Out of my mind, sorry. Let's continue with group 2. Now, Amethyst. I don't know what's about Amethyst. She's really quirky. She is one of the queens that I like the most right out of the bat in the cast. I hope it doesn't end up like with James Mansfield, when right out of the bat I was like, oh my God, she's amazing. It was season 9. Remember all of the queens that were there in season 9? Right out of the bat, I was like, James Mansfield. And then she went on first. So this is what I think was going to happen, but it didn't happen. So we will see. We will see. Also, Amethyst. I don't know how many of you are fans of good Lord, what's her name? I'm starting to forget names. Rachel Bloom. She has a song, a parody from some years ago, which was called You Can Touch My Boobies. And at some point she has a line where she says, oh wow, amethyst is a type of quartz. For that you can touch my boobies. So I connect the two things. I cannot help it. Who else do we have? Jax. Now, Jax kind of disappeared. She's another one of those queens who disappeared after being introduced. However, much like Anitra, I think it was a smart move done by the editors. The less you see of her during the episode, the more she's going to pop once she has a successful talent show. So I wouldn't worry too much about that, because it makes sense in the grand scheme of these two premieres. You don't see much in the beginning, and then when you're finally paying attention, you actually get blown out by the performance. So I don't think there is any chance that we see her go out like in the first step. You don't put that kind of effort for somebody who is going on second. And this is the same thing for Anitra. This is what I wanted to say about those kind of edits. Now, Lucy, for me, she screamed professional. The moment I saw her, I was like, okay, you are shady. You look kind of knowledgeable. You're funny. You look amazing. You are the professional. You are my Rosé of season 15. Better than Rosé. Sorry, Rosé. It's just, I like her more. So for me, she screamed professional. I don't know what's going to happen. Seeing her in the bottom doesn't scream professional at all. But, you know, Rosé also was kind of in the bottom in the first episode. So let's hope for the best. I think she really has more to offer, like every season queen. So it was a little bit strange to see her flop so much during this episode. Now, Robin Fierce reminds me of Jada. She disappeared from the episode too, and I'm not pleased about that. She did okay in the talent show, but she didn't really pop. There is no reason to justify that. But also, remember, Silent Assassins kind of disappear in the first episode as well. In the first episodes as well. So, you know, there are many queens with 16 queens. You are bound to lose 5 or 6. So we will see what happens with them. I would have liked to see a little bit more, because we spent all of the time in these 2 episodes talking about sugar and spice. Now, let's get to sugar and spice. Let me have a little bit of water. I need to prepare for this. This is going to be difficult. So, sugar and spice are the main focus of these 2 episodes. They are a new generation of drag queen. In the whole time, if you wanted to do drag, you needed to find a drag mother, you needed to learn how to paint, you needed to learn how to perform, you would likely needed to learn how to sew. You would probably get a lot of the dresses second-hand from somebody else. Not second-hand, when, you know, people loan you dress. Loan? Well, that, you know what I mean. It was a it was a different way of doing drag. Today, drag has become a full-blown business, and like every business, it has its ends in many different fields. You can be a drag queen during a live show, you can be a drag queen in theater, you can be a drag queen in television, you can be a drag queen on social media. I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing, if anything, because it brings more avenues for these people who choose this career path to actually make a living for them. So based on the fact that they only do social media, for me, that's not a problem. It's a different kind of drag. Now, is that drag going to bring you an advantage while competing on Drag Race? I don't think so. Most of what we see on Drag Race has to do with the ability to entertain a crowd, the ability to act, the ability to perform. These are all things that don't really learn from social media. When your business is posting a video or posting a pictures, you are not doing anything like really live. You always have the possibility to plan everything, to go back, to fix something, to re-edit something else. So being in that line of business doesn't really prepare you in this manner, and I think we're going to see that. Now, based on that, I do find them annoying. I will be very clear about that. I don't think they should be dismissed just because they do a different kind of business, because that would be reasonably unfair. With that said, they are a new generation of drag queens, so they are very, very aware of branding. They are very aware of their online persona. They have their Drag Race characters down. So much so that at some point we have Sugar actually spending time in the workroom describing her character for Drag Race. Which, I mean, to me, I basically grew up watching the very first seasons of Drag Race, which was a very different show. So seeing somebody doing like the exposition about who their character is for Drag Race, what are they going to bring, and so on and so forth, it kind of takes me out of the illusion. I will be clear with it. With that said, is it a smart move? Absolutely. You have to have your character down when you go on Drag Race. Not everybody is going to be able to have the presence to show who they are without being taken advantage of by production or being misconstrued by the fandom. So having a character down is a safe choice when you go on Drag Race, much like lip syncing for a talent is a safe choice compared to do something else that can be more easily manipulated to make you look worse than what you did. So, but they are prepared. They are prepared for this. They have their lines down. I don't know. They are very prepared and very aware of the kind of game that has been played in here. So I don't think they are necessarily going to do very well on Drag Race. I don't think none of them is going to be in the top. To be perfectly honest, I think that what World of Wonder and at this point MTV want to do with them is saying, okay, listen, we have these two social media queens. They have 7 million followers. That's a lot of fucking people. That's basically the amount of viewers that they get for an entire season of Drag Race. So it could be good if they can bring in some more views, maybe younger viewers, maybe people from another app. They are bound to say that they are on Drag Race. You know, it's the fame game. Famous people stick with famous people and go on famous programs. So I think this is the kind of game that has been played in here. And this is the reason why they are so much so in everybody's face all of the time. Independently if you like them or not. They are there because this is a business move. Nothing more and nothing less. Now, if we know World of Wonder, it doesn't really matter what happens with them. Once they are done and they got what they wanted from them, they probably look away and go on with their business like they do with everybody else. So please don't get fooled. Don't think that just because I'm defending them, I'm necessarily a fan of them. I found them really annoying. I cannot help it. It's not my thing. It doesn't work with me. Nevertheless, since they are front and center these entire 2 episodes, I think it was at least important to make this premise so that we all understand what's going on and why it's going on. Most of all, they are young. So in addition to all that we said before, they can be used to reinforce again this theme of young versus old. In fact, so much so that the moment they come in, immediately we have other queen criticizing them because they're inexperienced, because they only do social media, because they are too young, because they don't know how things are done, which are all true things. But the fact that are constantly shown in our face, it's telling us that they want to prime us with a message. The message being they are inexperienced. They are too young. And that naturally sets up a conflict with people who are or claim to be mature. So, personally, World of Wonder surprised me. Don't make them lip sync one against each other's because we all would see it coming a miles away. Entertain me. You don't need too much shock value, but please entertain me. Weasel, from the state, from the top RPDR videos land state treasury minister, and we will get our $1 million loan. Imagine them crying both at once. Oh my god, you're so shady. Not the bird, you are so shady. Lemon, it's funny because Mistress Isabel is 24 according to the wiki, while the twins are 23. Exactly. Nevertheless. So, I wanted to say something else. What did I want to say? Oh, talking about Mistress. There we are. Sorry, I'm scrolling through my notes. I'm still getting used to do this again. When we go back to the workroom, we have a little bit of character development for Mistress. She is one of the very few queens who is getting character development so early in the season. This is one of the reasons, well, she is the one who will have the representation spot for me. She comes in the workroom. First, she gets introduced by Irene, who tell us that she can be shady, that she's a lot of fun, and so on and so forth. So already Irene introduced her. Then we go to the workroom, and we find out that she's saying, you don't have to earn my sisterhood. Because I don't remember who said, well, we are all a sisterhood in here. She's like, no, you have to earn mine. So that we can already get a kind of idea that she could be off-putting. She can possibly be off-putting a little bit. And immediately after that, she starts criticizing Sugar and Spice because they are inexperienced, because she comes from a different background, and so on and so forth, only to later start finding them endearing. So, do you see what I mean when I say there is character development for her? She starts in a position of basically being portrayed as kind of a stuck-up bitch. I don't know how else to put it. Only to go full circle by the beginning and end of episode 2 and be like, oh, you know what? These younger queens are actually not that bad. So, please take this into account, because I'm curious to see what's happening. I think that Mistress is really smart. I don't care if she's 24. This kind of things were taught by Bianca back in season 6. So understand the production game, roll with the punches, and you will succeed. Be smart about it. You know what production is doing about Sugar and Spice, so roll with it. Roll with it. And that, I think, is what she's doing. No pun intended, of course. Otherwise, my boyfriend will kill me. And that will kill me. And everybody will kill me. Nevertheless, this is just another reminder that there is this theme of experienced versus inexperienced, of young versus old. I don't know if it's foreshadowing something major happening later on in the season. It could be that they're just trying to confuse us. We will have to see to actually, understand what's going on. But this is not the last reminder of this theme, because again, in the workroom, this happens in episode 2. We see Irene versus Lux again. They are measuring wigs. Okay, Irene is kind of teasing Lux that, well, that's not really a 40-inch wig. It's actually shorter. But we get to see it. We get a confessional from Lux complaining about it. And again, the purpose of Irene in there is to introduce and carry on storylines for other people. So in this case, she's bringing attention to Lux. She's bringing attention to another one of the younger queens. Immediately after this, we have a moment of Lux herself validating the twins. So you see how the story is carried on piece after piece from one interaction to the next in order to reach one purpose. In this case, pull again attention on Sugar and Spice. So they're really betting a lot on kind of making a good impression on this TikTok fan base. We will see if it pays out for them. Personally, I think they spent too much time concentrating on these two. I get it, 7 million followers might, I don't know, feel like your pussy is on fire if you are in the media business, but you're also making a show. There are other people in there too, which I would like to get an impression of as well. Nevertheless, we get this moment of Lux validating the twins. She says, well, today on social media, most of the job that we do comes from social media, because that's really the first impression that you make when you're trying, even if you're trying to get booked. People look look at you from social media. So that is a form of business. And in fact, there is, I think it was Sugar who says, social media is how you run your business. Please note that, because they might be 21, 22, however it is. But from this point of view, they are light ahead of everybody else. This is a business. Okay? I'm not saying they are not passionate about drag. I'm saying that it feels like it's business first and drag later. And they, judging by their results, they know how to do business. I should ask them for help. Definitely. In all of this, we get Baby Doll criticizing them for being inexperienced, setting a contrast again between Lux that is kind of defending them, and the holder queen who is criticizing them for being inexperienced. And then something else happens. Which I think it's pretty telling. We have a confessional from Irene repeating again the message that they're inexperienced. It's like the theme. They should have named these two premieres inexperienced. But she's basically saying that, you know, this is the point with younger queens. They are inexperienced. They don't really understand that. What was she saying? Throwing shade is something fun that people do. People tease each other off. I can attest to that. I tease my partner all of the time. It does the same with me. It's true. People who love each other tease themselves. And she is presented in this slide of saying, "Oh, you are inexperienced. You don't know. You don't know." While Irene is basically saying the same thing. But, Mistress is basically saying the same thing, but she says it in a very different ways. She says she's happy because the younger queens are learning. It's the same message, but one is saying, "Oh, you are lacking something because you are inexperienced," and the other is saying, "Well, you might be learning something, but you're learning." So they're both sending the message that they are indeed inexperienced, but they do it from opposite positions. And please note how Mistress said it already turned a 180. Sorry, her storyline, her approach. So she has this kind of mini redemption arc already. And this, for me, it's pretty telling. So, are we done with the twins? Can we move on? Oh, one more thing. I don't know if you... Oh my God, there is so much of this. There is also a moment when they get prepared, where, of course, we get a confessional from Irene, because, you know, she is the narrator and she has to validate other people's storylines, telling us that the twins are late because they are inexperienced, of course. There is something else that I wanted to draw your attention on. Did you watch the pit stop with Bianca, Jinx, and Dela? I didn't watch it. I saw parts of it with my partner. My partner, I think, watched all of it. It's not available anymore in Europe because somehow it happened yesterday. The RuPaul's Drag Race channel locked all of her content. They geo-locked it. So it's only accessible from the U.S. I don't know why they did it. It feels pretty weird to me, but if you have problems with it, you can use a free VPN. I'm telling you, if you wait a moment, I'm telling you the name of the one that I'm using. It's called Windscribe. If you can afford a subscription to something else, it's even better. Otherwise, there are free applications so that you can access these. But during the pit stop, what struck me is that all three of them, they portray Sugar and Spice in a very understanding, in a very fun, even they tease them a little bit. I finished watching this, or as long as my attention was on it, thinking they're really doing their best to leave a good impression of these two queens. And remember, yes, it's Bianca, yes, it's Jinx, yes, it's Dela, but they are working. This is what I want people to remember. I don't know how much liberty they have to say what they actually think, but it's kind of suspicious that they have been so, especially Bianca, because Bianca will cut you up and then give you a hand to become better. But first she will cut you up. And she didn't do that at all. So I found it kind of suspicious at best. Now, why did production put so much emphasis on the fact that these two queens are inexperienced? because I think there are two main reasons behind it. On one hand, it reinforces the storyline, young versus old. We're going to see who will be the old villain at this point, but that is a good advantage. So we have old queens and other queens criticizing them only to be proven wrong immediately afterwards, helping portraying them in a positive light, but by simple contrast. You know, I tell you, you're too inexperienced and you do well in the talent show, so I was wrong, and you know, you are developing or whatever it is. Again, I think that portraying them positively is a way of capitalizing on their fan base. Remember, Drag Race is a business. But I think it's also a very, very safe bet. What do I mean by that? They have 7 million followers. Those people can make a lot of noise for the show if the show respects the people that they're following. If the show doesn't, they can become a problem. They can become really loud, and it doesn't happen the franchise, and it doesn't help the business. So it's better to have these people on board than have them against. So if you start introducing this theme of being inexperienced, and you find confirmation of that from a lot of other queens, you find confirmation of that and justification from that from the pit stop, at some point people will get used to it. So if they get eliminated because they are inexperienced, nobody will have anything to say about that, because you know, that's what the edit is telling you. They are inexperienced. Their experience is not enough to be up to the game, so they got eliminated. Fair and square, and people won't have much to say about that. Also, and opposite, it also sets up a very good storyline, very good redemption storyline, if one of the two manages to mature and change so much in the 4 weeks that it took to film this, possibly 3. To mature so much and, you know, learn to master abilities that will justify your position in the top 4. So it has this double advantage. You know, if you have to eliminate them, nobody will have anything to say about it. But if you don't, then you set up a very nice redemption storyline for them. So as usual, it's Drag Race. They know what they're doing. The producers know what they're doing, even though they fuck up big time sometimes, but they know what they're doing. So let's move on to the talent. How do we judge this talent? Didn't I have a picture of just the talent? Yes, there it is. We go to Baby Doll in a moment. How do we judge this talent? Well, you know what I think about this. This is not the first talent that I am opinionating on. I don't like when queens lip sync for a talent. It's not that I don't like lip syncs. In fact, I think they are the highlight and one of the gem of this show. It's just that I consider it a basic thing that you need to have to come to Drag Race. So what happens is that the moment I see you lip syncing for the talent, I am automatically expecting something more. So if I don't see that something more, I watch the performance and thinking, well, kind of bland, because this is something so basic that you need to have. And most of all, if you are competing on Drag Race, you are going to lip sync at some point. So we are going to see if you can do that. So I'm like, do something different. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of queens lip syncing for a talent show. I do understand why the vast majority of them choose to lip sync, because it's much easier to edit a comedy routine, for example, in order to make it look worse than it was, than an actual lip sync, unless you fall during the lip sync and they, can basically cut everything else and show you falling and never recovering from that. It's much easier because comedy relies a lot on timing, for example. So you can see how 3 seconds of edit or a laugh here, a confessional there, can make or break a comedy performance, at least to the large audience. So it makes sense that a lot of them decided to lip sync. It's a safe choice, so I do understand it. Nevertheless, I think I enjoyed it a little bit less. Now, very quickly, let's go through these queens. Baby Doll, she's lip syncing, but she is lip syncing an original song. So at least there is the effort in there. With that said, there is not that much going on for me. It's not a bad performance, but compared to what everybody else was doing, for me it's very, very safe. Possibly even low, but mostly safe. It's more safe than low to me. Spice. Spice lip syncs to an original song as well. She has her stage props. I don't know who... if they had a chance to bring their own props or if production provided them. Nevertheless, there are props in there which help the performance. The problem for me is that she seems very robotic. She seems very stiff. She seems like she's thinking too much. Okay, what's my next move? What's the other next move? You can kind of see a disconnect between every move. It seems the whole performance, it's very stiff. To be honest, while I was watching, I was kind of thinking, are you panicking? Are you okay? Are you uncomfortable? Because she looked really uncomfortable to me. She looked really, really uncomfortable. And that has 100% to do with the lack of experience. If you never performed, if you're not used to perform, you are bound to be very... I think there is a word for it. I cannot recall it, so I say stiff. Very stiff when you try to perform. Very rehearsed, but not rehearsed in a good way. Rehearsed in a way that it feels like it's... instead of a whole performance, it feels like a bunch of chopped up pieces glued together. And this is something that a critique that I have for Sugar as well. Their performances to me are nearly identical in this matter. With that said, for me, the lyrics are kind of disconnected from the campy theme, because this is a campy lip sync. It's mostly branding. They are branding themselves, both of them. But there is not a real connection to what she's actually doing on stage. For example, what I want to say, there is a queen later on. Who was it? Poppy. Poppy had an original song. We're going to talk about it, but just to say it, Poppy had an original song. The song worked back to back with what she was doing, and it all made sense. It was all very cohesive. And this is what I didn't like about this number. It was not cohesive at all. It was a branding song, a series of moves, and a series of expression. I didn't like this. I will recognize the effort. That I will do. But I didn't like it. For me, it was low, possibly even bottom. But more low than bottom, because at least it was an original song. Moving on to Lux. Now, Lux lip-synced as well to an original song, but she is delivering. This is the difference. For me, she is delivering. She has... I don't know, did anybody saw that clip? I think it was last year on Twitter. It was called like Showdown of every drag race moves or every drag race lip sync moves, and the guy had them all. He had like the donkey kick, the point. He had them all. Lux is showing down every single drag lip sync move. They are down to a T. They are executed perfectly, so I have nothing to say about that. I just found it funny because I recognized all of them, like the high kick, the donkey kick, the windmill. I don't know. I probably have to find that clip and show it to you. So she has down every single drag move. Very well executed. For me, she was safe, possibly high. Safe, possibly high. It's closer to a high than a safe for me. Moving on to Mistress. Mistress lip syncs as well to an original song. And she's a big girl, okay? Much like Baby Doll. So being big, you cannot perform. the stunts that skinny girls can or trained girls can. Let's be direct about it. There is a limit to what you can do and what you can do safely. So I think that this should be taken into account. With that said, she is doing the best she can on that stage. She also has a prop. She makes fun of the chocolate bar. I think when you put her performance in contrast to what Baby Doll did, even though I think Mistress might be even a little bit bigger, she worked that stage much more. I think she also had a small reveal in the dress. So she put a ton of effort into this. For me, she was safe. High, it's closer to high than safe. Christos, Mistress is playing the game. She showed June Jamalaya's chocolate bar to make Ru happy. I think it also made me it made me Ru happy. It also made me happy. I don't know, there's something cathartic about seeing this chocolate bar made fun of inside the show. Moving on to who's next? Lucy. Lucy sings live to an original song, and this was live. There was no autotune going with it. I don't know if you remember, but in the past 2 years, we had a lot of queens singing live for their talent. I don't know if they sang live on stage. What we got in the final product, what actually aired on television, was not live singing. I think the resident queen of Puerto Vallarta was the only one who was allowed to sing live when she was singing and playing the piano on All Star 6. But apart from that, she's singing live. I do appreciate the effort. The problem here is that unless you are heavily trained, like your body is trained, singing and dancing is incredibly difficult, because the more you dance, the more you're out of breath. The more you're out of breath, the more difficult it is to control your diaphragm. So you really have to be trained to dance and sing at the same time. If you really want to sing live to showcase your vocal abilities, I would have instead chosen a slower song, something that didn't require you to move this much. Because one of her critiques was that she was not doing much. But already what she was doing was enough to make her go out of key from time to time. She was out of tune from time to time. I heard that. With that said, if you take 90% of the probably 95% of the singers out there, that's exactly the best ones. That's exactly how they sound before autotune. So, just to give you a comparison out there. With that said, it was a bad choice. I think the edit didn't help, but it was a bad choice. I mean, she was out of key. And the song required her to move much more, and she couldn't. So it was really a bad choice. For me, this performance was low, possibly even bottom. Moving on to Marsha. Now, Marsha has a campy dance number, so she's not lip syncing, and already you know how I feel about it. So I'm already very happy. I'm already prepared, okay, you're doing something different than everybody else. Perfect. So this number is weird, it's stupid. What was impressive to me, and we didn't see enough of that because the accent in the editing was on the campiness of it all, not on the dancing. But what I saw of the dancing was flawless. I don't know if she is a professional dancer or whatever. I think it was genius to have a portrait of Ross in there. I can relate to that because I wanted to fuck Ross for the past 15 years, so I can completely relate to that. There is a conflicted feeling, between the cryptiques and the way I got to know Ross. But apart from that, I can relate to the message. I think it's executed really well. It's very, very cohesive. The lyrics goes with the movement, her timing on stage, the time that she spends on the bed, the time that she spends to reveal that a portrait of Ross is actually there, the time that she spends dancing. It's very cohesive. For me, this was top notch. This was top notch. I wouldn't have complained if she won. I will tell you this much. I wouldn't have complained at all if she won. I liked what Anitra was doing. I think that as far as lip sync goes, she is very well on par with Denali and Laganja, which to me are the lip sync goddesses of Drag Race, the stunt goddesses of Drag Race. But to me personally, that I prefer to see something else in a talent that it's not a lip sync. To me, she was my winner. To me, she was my winner. And that's my personal choice. Don't think that I don't appreciate. I like Anitra a lot. I just got tired of seeing lip syncs in talent. I just got tired of it. The moment you do something different, I'm immediately drawn in. Moving on to Robin. Now, Robin is lip syncing, but she's lip syncing not to an original song. So it's already a little bit less than what everybody else was doing. With that said, I think she delivered. I think it was a good lip sync. A very, very safe lip sync, nevertheless a good one. We have seen worse. So for me, she was safe. You might argue maybe even low, maybe. To me, she was safe. Moving on to Irene. Now, Irene had a comedy routine, which is already a very good thing for me. She kind of dropped the ball on this. Let me tell you, let me be direct. I think this number had great potential because it's making fun of the culture of tutorials that we have today. You know, when sometimes you open YouTube and you see the stupidest thing that you probably learned when you were 5 years old by somebody who is taking 25 minutes to do it. And you know that in those 25 minutes, you're going to have 8 ad breaks because they need to make money. They want to make money. So she is mocking this thing, which I think is genius. I like a cerebral queen. I do love a cerebral queen. And you are criticizing something that I am completely on board on. Because it makes so much sense. With that said, she could have brought this way, way further. Because this number had a lot of potential. She could have leaned on a little bit too much, you know, a little bit more by incorporating fake sponsors, for example. How many times you watch a video, any video, and you will find immediately in the beginning, hey, this thing is sponsored by this, which is great, and I was paid to say this. You know, things like this, lean into it. If that is your number, go 100%. Those, I don't know, she said that the original number is longer and this was cut in order to fit the 2 minutes of the talent. So I don't know if stuff like this was in the original performance, but this is what I would have done. I would have brought it even further because the idea behind it is genius and it resonates with everyone. Now, with that said, the editing didn't help. I mean, I get it, she had only one joke, but the edit really brought her down even more. I mean, as usual, we have our confessionals, we have our reaction shots, we have our silence. There are like 50 people in that room. You know that silence was added in post-production. It had to. It had to. So the editing is it's not a good performance. I will agree on that. Was it as bad as what we saw? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. We've seen Ru laughing hysterical. You know, the way Ru does it. It's the kind of laugh that says, I am paid to cheer for this. They paid me good money to laugh. So I'm going to laugh. But it wasn't as bad as they made it at all. I think... from a production perspective, she had a purpose. She was made to fulfill that purpose, and then her performance was brought down a notch in order to justify the fact that she went home in the end. Was it necessary? For me, no, because people can see with their own eyes. I mean, if something is not exactly It's not that it was not funny, but it wasn't funny for a long time. Not for a long time. It was funny for a short period of time. After that, it felt undeveloped in a way. D15, so you like good head, don't you? Actually, I do, yes. Yes. Lemonin, I'm going to call you Lemonin. Irene released a music video that starts with this bit, and it's supposed to be that she's an alien trying to imitate human customs to show how absurd they are. Oh, that makes sense. That makes sense. I mean, that's how I read this performance, but if that was her initial idea, that works as well. That works as well. But again, if she wanted to go in that direction, I would have brought it a little bit further. There was not enough in this performance. Irene is Bosco's sister, Christos. She lacked her comedy. Miss Bosco lacked the dancing. I hope that they perform together. Now, talking about Irene, she left something on social media. So thank you to, what was it? The RPDR drama subreddit. They are great for getting receipts. I cannot thank them enough. So she basically posted this, that they changed her backing track midway through and added multiple talking heads to make her seem even more unfunny than what she was. She was basically complaining about the edit, but she's adding the information that they changed her backing track midway. I don't know if it was a form of sabotage, knowing how Drag Race does its thing. You know, you should expect these kind of things. You should be prepared for everything. Remember Denali. But, you know, what's important of this reaction for me, it's that kind of confirms that she's not really coming back. So I don't think she's coming back. She's gonna blame it on the edit, yes. Amateur season, you're absolutely right. Tukia, as soon as I saw Irene Runways, I could see the resemblance between her and Bosco. Bra, panty, and waist belt. You're all so shady. You are so shady. Insulin Independent Skank. Hello. Welcome. Welcome. So, she was not pleased by it. What I am very pleased about it is that I read a lot of people while I was scrolling through Reddit today, that a lot of people are completely aware of the edit, are completely aware of the talking heads, are completely aware of the effect that they have. They know what is going on, and that makes me incredibly happy, because that's what I wanted to happen when I started this show 3 years ago. That bring it into the public conscience that edit exists, it has a purpose, and it works in a specific way. So I'm not sure it's my influence. Thank you for saying that. But I know that I made my part into this, and that's what makes me proud. Tyel says, Willow Pill and Denali were amazing at Roscoe's. I haven't had time to watch it. I'm going to watch it after I finish the stream. Later on, we're going to have the Kiki time, as usual, so we can talk a little bit about it. You can tell me what happened, and I can tell you what I think about it. I can already tell you, I'm all in for Willow Pill and Denali. They are great. They are both great. Moving on to Anitra. She lip syncs, but she lip syncs to an original song, and she's bringing the fucking stage down. There are no other words to say it. The stunts are amazing. You can see that she is trained. And by trained, I don't mean that you spent a lot of time trying out your moves for your lip sync. Your body is trained. You are flexible, you have muscles, you are not out of breath after you danced for 3 minutes, like me, for example. You are trained. And if you are going to perform stunts during your lip sync, that is a requirement, because it makes all of the difference. Whenever she moves, please, I don't know how many times you watched her performance. I watched it 4 times, probably even 5. There is a flow to her moves. she seems effortless. She reminds me a lot of Denali, because Denali was trained as well. And if you remember her lip syncs, she was effortless. She made it look like doing splits, jumps, and all of this stunts like it's walking. I don't know. I don't have the fluency to describe what I mean, but it looks like it's the simplest thing in the world. That's how they make it look. And it's fucking insane what she was doing. Like, she is trained. She brought that stage down. Like, if anybody lip syncs against her and she pulls this kind of thing, they're going to really have to bring that edit down, because there is no other way. It's simply unstoppable. When I saw this, I immediately thought of Denali and Laganja. This is the kind of... It's not even a lip sync anymore. It's a show. It's really a stunt lip sync. And even though I know there are many different kinds of lip sync, this when I see these things, and they do all of this in heels, of course, I'm like, the fuck did you just do? I am amazed. Mostly because I'm still fat. So I couldn't even train to do this kind of thing. Can you imagine that? She was amazing. The stunt with Bryce, I don't know if anybody of you got curious what happened to Bryce, because when she broke the second board, the one that she broke with a high kick, Bryce got scared and he lifted the board. It looks like 5 centimeters, a couple of inches. She almost hit his hand. That's how precise she was. Watch it back. You will see it. Christus, to add to that, she did it in hooker boots like legendary. Absolutely. So for me, her performance was top-notch. There is nothing to say about that. The only reason why I would have given the win to Marsha is because I prefer things that are not lip syncs for talent. But that's my personal prejudice. That's my personal bias. I'm perfectly happy with the fact that she won. I mean, she made, by contrast, she made everybody else who lip synced look average. That's what she did. Okay, moving on to dinosaurs. One moment, but Marsha's was a lip sync. She was not lip syncing. She was not dancing, even though the lyrics had a connection with what she was doing. Moving on to Sugar. Now, for Sugar, everything that I said for Spice, basically. There is the effort, it's undeniable. She's lip syncing, it's an original song, there are props, but again, there is a disconnection between the lyrics and the performance itself. They don't really blend together, mostly because the lyrics are branding, and they are somewhat trying to connect campy things from the lyrics to gestures that they do during the performance. I don't know, it felt very... let's say it like this, I would have enjoyed this if I was 15. Putting her immediately after Anitra and before Poppy really made her look even worse. So I did not like this performance. I will give credit for the effort, absolutely. I did not enjoy it. I'm sorry. I did not enjoy it. For me, she was low, possibly even bottom. Moving on to Poppy. Now, Poppy seems to have brought the refined version of what Sugar and Spice were doing, because it's a campy number. There is lip syncing involved. It's an original song, but the props that she brought actually work very well with the lyrics. They work very well with the number. They work very well with what she's doing. It's a very cohesive, campy number. So I think that, you know, putting so close Sugar to Poppy really makes people see the difference between what experience will do. She is more experienced. Her number is more well prepared. I don't know, maybe she had more money to pay people to prepare a number for her. I don't know, but, you know, the other two have a lot of money as well. So I don't think this is about money. I think this is mostly about being able to construct a number, which is not an easy thing. I will give you this. But Poppy's number was very well constructed. Was I blown away by it? Absolutely not. But it was okay. For me, it was okay. For me, she was high, possibly even on the top. Possibly, if they really, really wanted her to pop out of the screen and bring down somebody else, could be. But for me, she was high. Like, there is not much denying that for me. Moving on to Selena. Selena is lip syncing to an original song. She has a small reveal, but at this point we have seen so many lip syncs that it doesn't really matter what you do. It's going to be very hard to top what everybody else was doing. For me, she did reasonably well. Nothing too much out of the ordinary. For me, she was just safe. D15. Wait, you're not 15? I wouldn't be allowed to be to be still awake if I was 15. What do you think? Fantasia! What the hell is going on in this screen meal? Moving on to Amethyst. Wow, Amethyst is a type of quartz? I needed to get that sound. I should have gotten those sound bites. I should have. I will get them for next week. Now, Amethyst is lip syncing and she has a campy number. Now, I will agree, believe it or not, I will agree with the judges and what everybody else said. The number feels unfinished. She has one gag with the baby, which is incredibly funny. I laughed when I saw that, but that was all there was. It was an incredibly missed opportunity. I was totally into it for the first 20 seconds. I like the character. I like that she has, her glass of wine, that she's basically drunk. She doesn't understand what's going on. She has the character down, but the number is unfinished, which was very unfortunate. For me, she was low, not necessarily bottom. I mean, if you want to stretch it and say it's a bottom position, you can do that. For me, she was low. Bottom, no. Absolutely not. Moving on to Aura. Now, Aura is lip syncing and she is presenting a form of unconventional lip sync. I think that's a form of martial art, what she's doing, or is at least inspired by martial arts. If you like that, it's something different. It's something unique. I did not enjoy it. I'm sorry. I did not enjoy it. I do appreciate the effort that at least you're trying to stuck out of the crowd. Like, many queens brought the same parade of drag queens moves, and we all know that, and maybe it can feel a little bit boring. So she tried to do something different. I will give her that. But she's not really lip syncing to an original song. And I didn't really enjoy what was going on. It felt like there was not much going on. So for me, this performance was low. I wouldn't go as far as saying possibly bottom, because a lot of how enjoyable her performance is subjective, but for me, she was low. She could have done much more, developed the idea a little bit more. Moving on to Sasha. Now, Sasha is lip syncing, not to an original song. She has a reveal. She has an idea. There is a concept behind this performance. It's something that she talked about it in Untucked. This is about some personal things that went on in her personal life. I didn't understand it in the beginning. Looking back, I think it was quite clear, but I didn't quite get the whole number until it was explained. Nevertheless, it was a good performance for me. I would have liked it to be more, a little bit less, I don't want to say cryptic, but I didn't really get the message in the beginning. I didn't really get it. And that is something that I should get it immediately. Did you guys get the message, or am I the only one who didn't really understand that this was about mental illness and living with mental illness? So I don't know. I like the performance. The performance was good. She's a goddess. There is no doubt about that. It was safe for me. It was very safe. If I would have understood it better, probably even something more than that. And I do appreciate a queen that uses her talent show to spread awareness about issues like these. I really do appreciate that, because you could use for all that you know, you could be going home tonight. You could be staying only for that one episode, and you have one chance to pop, and that is your talent show. And you use it to spread awareness about a very important issue. So many other queens have been branding themselves, for example. So for me, this means a lot. I really appreciate this, and it really means a lot. So for me, she deserved a safe position, possibly even high if the performance was more clear. So I don't know if it was just a little bit unclear for me or unclear for everybody, but she did good. She did good. Papa says the jacket is like the ones that you can see in the restraining. Yes, I didn't catch it immediately. That's because when you look after it, you realize it. You're like, okay, that's a restraining. So, moving on to who's next? Jax. Moving on to Jax. Now, Jax is lip syncing, but Jax is fucking delivering. And I'm not talking just about the skipping with her ponytail, because everybody was living for that. I'm sorry, I didn't really understand it. For me, it was a reference to Carrie Colby and an homage to Sasha Colby, who performed before her. So I thought that's what she was doing. She was praising these goddesses. So I wasn't particularly impressed by it. But the moment she started to fucking back flipping, she did like 3 or 4, and then she landed graciously on her pussy and titties, and I was like, what the fuck? You know, when we said before, once you see Anitra lip syncing, it's going to be difficult to appreciate anybody else. She jumped on stage and she basically said, wait a moment. Hold my purse. I have something to show. So I like stunts on stage. I am one of those people. I love a good emotional lip sync. I love a good campy lip sync. But when I see stunts like that, I'm just amazed. So for me, she did very well. This was high, possibly even top, if she did have an original song. Because a lot of people spent the money and the effort to prepare an original song for Drag Race. So if she had an original song, it would have all checked out and possibly even in the top. But absolutely a high position, for sure. Now, before we have a pause and before the Kiki time, I wanted to talk a little bit about the cryptiques. I forgot to load our clip of Jeremy, but mostly because there is a reason for that. I didn't do it on purpose. I forgot it for real. But I think the reason behind it is that this episode, there are no cryptiques. They are critiques. I was watching this and thinking to myself, if only the whole season would be like this, I would stop watching the cryptiques only to review them. And being like, oh my god, I have to go through this. No, I'm kidding. It's also fun. But they were on point. They were, and differently from what we saw on the All-Star 7 All Winners when they just praised everybody so that they couldn't be called out for their bullshit, allegedly. They are fair critiques. The positive critiques and the negative critiques are fair and are on point. So I don't know, maybe it's the fact that the light of Ariana Grande was shining on everybody, so they became illuminated. They I don't know, something clicked, and thanks to her influence, nobody was allowed to spew any bullshit on the panel of judges, but I did agree with everything they had to say. They were fair critique, both the positive and the negative ones. I agreed that Irene numbers felt incomplete. I don't know how much of that perception is due to the edit and how much is to the fact that the number was indeed incomplete. But then again, it makes sense. At least they don't contradict the things that we see on screen. Because remember, a lot of time in the cryptiques, we see them saying the opposite of what we actually get to see. And this is an edited show. So if it gets to the point where I also actually get to see it, I'm asking a question. Is somebody in production editing this to make RuPaul look like an asshole? Is it done on purpose, or they just didn't have time to do it properly? So as long as it's coherent, it's already a step forward. I did agree that Marsha didn't really deserve the win because they also took the outfit into account, and although I think it goes with a character, it did feel a little bit basic. And you know that for her was my favorite talent out of all of them. I think it was an honest critique to say that makeup and dress were a little bit basic. After all, it's a talent show. It's you gotta pop. I get it that maybe that is your brand, but you still have to find somewhat a middle way, because look around you, look how everybody else, only by contrast, you're going to look basic, even if you're not. So Top is in love with Ariana. I'm in love with her voice. She has an amazing voice. It's such a beautiful voice. I didn't think so. She's one of the very few singers who I actually admire for their vocal abilities. So yeah, I like her. So Anitra, of course, she was praised by everybody. Very well deserved. Amethyst, they said that there was not much going on after the baby reveal. I agree, I was thinking exactly the same. So unless it was there and it was cut in post-production, there was not much going on after the baby. And also Ariana said that, so I don't think you can buy her for saying these things. I hope so. That's my fantasy. Moving on to Jax. She was praised, and they put a ton of emphasis. They didn't put so much emphasis on the stunts because she did amazing. So I think in part was because she was doing a stunt lip sync, which is the same thing that Anitra was doing. So if you want Anitra to be your winner, you cannot praise too much somebody else for doing the same thing. Otherwise, the viewers will be left with the perception that maybe you were the one who deserved to win. So they didn't praise her too much on the stunts. Which, I don't know, I don't think it's bullshit. I think it's good production. It's an acceptable way of doing your critiques. You know, omitting a little bit of praise in order to not overshadow your winner can work. From my point of view, also Poppy made something very different from everybody else. I mean, I wouldn't have complained if she was high, if she was on the main stage getting critiqued as well, instead of Jax, for example. Not because she necessarily did better, but it was something different. So it could have worked as well for me. And to Lucy, they tell her your vocals were basically shit. Which, yes, I can agree, she didn't sound well, but people don't have a real perception of how singing actually works. If you go in a recording studio, listening to 95% of the people who record music, they sound way worse than what we saw with Lucy. This is something that I don't think people really grasp. The impact of autotuning in today's music, where everything is autotuned, and it got so well. It became so sophisticated. You can literally scream into a microphone and you're going to sound good. So, yeah, of course, yes, she was out of key from time to time, but I think it was more a poor choice than a lack of vocal skills. So I appreciated the effort. I don't think she deserved to be in the bottom. Sorry, to be low for this. No, what the fuck am I saying? She was not in the bottom. I thought it was okay that she was low, but they made her kind of look as if she was going to be in the bottom. That's what rubbed me the wrong way. Like, there are a ton of other people that could have been standing on that stage being low next to her, but they were safe. So, you know. I'm missing a lot of comments. Beverly, what did you think of Michelle's chapstick and mascara comment? I was living. I was living. Amir, the theme was signature drag, so it's hard to judge one against the other. Oh, talking about Marsha. Yeah, I would like to lean into that, but I think it goes until a certain point. It's Archangel. I'm happy that you're back. I'm starting the stream because I did not get notifications. Don't worry. Don't worry, you're not alone. But I just wanted to say I'm happy the shop is back and Happy New Year. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Holo, one is a recording artist and the other one is a singer. Thank you so much for giving me this piece of English language. I will not forget that. I will not forget that. What else is there to say? I think that's basically it. Regarding the lip sync, since I am not editing the chop anymore because it takes too much time to organize everything, make the episodes. This is something that, remember in the very beginning, I told you we have to make compromises in order to keep this show alive. I'm not counting on the fact that we will ever make enough money to pay an editor, so I'm looking directly for a solution that can work with the time that I can invest on the channel. So, since I'm not releasing episodes of the chop anymore and it's just going to be a live stream, I'm going to review the lip sync as a separate video. I also created something for it. It's going to be out in 2 or 3 days. In the future, I will work to have it out on Saturday, so even before the live stream, so that it's out already. And at least there is a weekly video out for people who miss the live streams or don't like the live streams, and it's going to be something easier, something lighter to edit, a little bit less work intensive, but possibly more informative than just me talking about it and giving you my opinions on it. So we're going to talk about the lip sync in the video. It didn't blow me away. This is what I can tell you. I can give you my opinion on it. It didn't blow me away. The editing was kind of dodgy. Could have been much worse, absolutely. Let's say it's not in my top 10 lip syncs. That's for sure. Nevertheless, I think that by this point we all knew who was going to go home. If we got used to this show, she appeared far, far too much. Irene, I mean. Is she gone? I hope so. For not because I don't want to see her. I thought she was incredibly entertaining. But you know, season 14, we really had weeks where like nobody went home for like 6 weeks. They even somebody even said it in one of these premieres, and they left it in the final edit. So they are perfectly conscious of what they did. So yes, this is a competition. These are eliminations episodes. As much as I enjoy some queens have to go home. Like, I think it's a very smart move that they got more queens this season. I mean, if you have to have more episodes, then bring in more contestants. I know that it's more work for you because you have 2 more people and you have to take care of these 2 more people. So you have to have 2 more rooms in your hotels. You need more talent handlers to care for them. Then there is catering, whatever it is, props. Then since they perform, you are inevitably bound to have to pay for something, either for their props or the music rights of the song they bring, if you really decide to feature those songs and so on. It's more expensive. I understand it. But, you know, dragging along the same 6 queens for 8 episodes is really, really cheap. They have the money to afford 16, so I do agree that they brought 16. Still, we're missing 1 episode, so at some point there's going to be a double shantay, unless the order was less episodes, which I don't think so. So, is Irene coming back? I don't think so. I don't think so. Wait for next episode where I will be proven wrong, because that's what happens to the vast majority of my early predictions, but I don't think so. Orchidoo, do you think they gave her the win in the mini challenge as a sympathy win because she was going to go home first? Maybe. I mean, it's very hard to judge a photo shoot. They are the one who decides which photo they take, so it's 100% to their discretion. If it was because of that, then I'm really happy about it. Tukia, RuPaul herself said twice that this time someone would definitely go home. I hope so. RuPaul said a lot of bullshit and then she backtracked on it. It's not like she said it. I mean, she's paid to say these things, but I don't really trust Mama's word. If you know what I mean. Holo, the first Watcher Packing episode with Irene is already out, so she's definitely gone. Last season they didn't upload one for Diabetes and Orion at the beginning. Oh, then I would say we have confirmation. of that. Okay, let's take a 5 minutes pause. I'll go grab something to drink. Go to the toilet, get something to eat, go smoke. If you smoke, whatever it is. See you back in 5 minutes. Now, let's shake it up. I will get some more music next week, but for now, let's stick to the usual, what we got used to. See you back in 5 minutes for our Kiki time.
Shake it up. like a bottle of sparkling wine. Before I blow it open, let's take some time. Shake it up. Shake it up. These are cynical times. We had to endure so many clinical lines, so little actual cures. When getting money's our religion and love is a need, we sit and watch while our country bleeds. I'm gonna stop trying to get off the hook, and I really don't care if everybody looks. Shake it up. Let me tell you, baby steps won't work. Shake it up, shake it up. Okay, it just might hurt. The city's like a bottle of sparkling wine. Before I blow it open, let's take some time. Shake it up. Shake it up. Shake it up. Shake it
And we're back. Let's change slide. There we go. There we go. Okay. There we are. Tukia, good night everyone, and good night top RPDR video. The shady right here gotta work. Thank you for coming, Tukia. Thank you so much. Danny X, last season you talked about a new system, the marble system. Yes, there's going to be a video about it. There's going to be a video about it. Is it still working? Will you still reveal the principle? Yes, it's very, very simple. It's very, very simple. This is what I like about it, because simple things have a chance of being understood very easily by a lot of people. And I think that it also has a power of explaining of how some choices are made during the production of the show. Now, this is not just about Drag Race. As you know, I have big aspirations, so whenever I explain how something is done to manipulate the perception of people, I always wish that once people learn to see that in Drag Race, they can bring out the same principles and use them when they watch the news, for example, or when they watch something that has to do with policies that are being pushed in their own countries and things that can have a more significant impact in their life. So this is what really motivates me in explaining these things. So apart from that, the video will come. I don't know when, because I cannot work for an extended period of times. So what I want to do is to have the lip sync video out every week. That's to please the algorithm. I have to bend to that. There is nothing that I can do about it. With that said, I still want to make something that it's also interesting, that also takes a little bit of effort. I don't like just to make videos just to make them. I want to have something to say, something new to bring. So I want to have that done weekly. And then everything else sandwiched in between, including Drag Money. That is something that I've been working on for a long time, on and off. And that is something that has to be done. So it will be done. I don't know when, I don't know how. The problem is that I don't know how things are going to go. That's the main problem for me. If something happens and I cannot come on live stream anymore, or I cannot spend an extended period of times because I cannot concentrate, for example, then it's going to be a problem. then it's going to be a problem, which is also one of the reasons why I've been on hiatus for so long. So we will see about that, but this is the plan, to at least have this video coming out, which would take like 6 or 7 hours to make, which is totally fine, and our live streams on Sunday. Also because, again, there are a lot of people who don't really use Discord, so the only time where we get to be all together is here on live stream on Sunday. And this is something that's been a message that has been sent to me over and over and over again. You know, like, even if you have nothing prepared, just come together, let's have a chit chat. So we're going to try to do that. Amateur season. What about the video on Jocelyn Fox? Is it officially dead? It's officially dead. It is officially dead. Like many other of my project, I let them become outdated. It's on me. It's on me. There was, yes, Jason, there was a celebratory video because Jocelyn Fox was one of my favorite queens from the early season. So, yeah, unfortunately, yes. I have to give priorities to other things. That's the point. I have to please the algorithm. Otherwise, people will not get notifications. Otherwise, the channel doesn't go on, basically. So that is something that I have to do. And the other thing is that I have to do is to put a stop to people coming here fishing for ideas, fishing for content, fishing for sometimes opinions as well. That has to stop because it demotivates me when I work. And working on the channel, it's already been difficult enough. So that has to stop. I want to sit and do something and not be with the constant thing of saying, oh yes, you do this, or you discuss this particular point of view. Then somebody else is going to write the algorithm and pluck this nice idea from you and this nice point of view and make money out of it. It really bugs me, you know. When I talk about editing, and this is something that I said from the moment I started this show, I wanted people to talk more about these things. And it happened. And the more people talk about it, especially people who have a better chance to being listened to than I have, then my goal is reached. But one thing is discussing an issue in your own way. Another thing is using somebody else as a probing ground to see if something has potential and then pluck it and use it because you have no creativity of your own. That's what bugs me. So that needs to stop. So we will see about that. Jason, how are the mice doing? Well, they passed out. They passed out. Vilma, the first week of, or the second week of July, Spot, sorry, and then Vilma the week later. They were really, really bonded. Which is weird when you think about it, because most people don't think about rodents as the kind of animals that can have such an emotional attachment that the moment one of the companion passes, the other one just lets herself go. But this is something that I've seen happen multiple times. That's why if and when I will have mice again, I always go for bigger numbers. So that they can keep companies together. But they had a good life. I can assure you that. I gave them a very good life. And I made a whole video dedicated to them. So, you know, I digested that. I am over that. I didn't get any new mice. No. The older I get, the more difficult it is to deal with the loss, which is incredibly weird. I always thought it would be the opposite. You know, the more you grow old, you go over these stuff, you get desensitized a little bit. You know, you're grateful for the time you have and then move on. But, with this too, it really got to us. It really, really got to us. So I don't feel ready to get other pets. Christus, do you think her Aura was saved for doing the Blackpink performance and they didn't want backlash from K-pop stans? Even MTV rode the wave and posted the performance on their social. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. What I do know is that these people are smart. So if there is a chance that they could get heavy backlash for something, they probably learn to avoid it. But I don't think so. I think they're just letting Aura fading in the background a little bit. I don't think they necessarily helped her or demote her performance. Is that the word? Made it appear worse than it was. It was just not very engaging to me. Beverly, I noticed a particular YouTuber. I don't see him anymore. Last was his Britney series. No. This is not. Are you talking about Jake Yonce? Because it's nothing to do with him. I will talk about him. I will talk about it mostly because I want this series not just to be a way of making some people stop doing this kind of things. I also aspire to be educational and tell a story. So I will talk about it as well. Passed out, you mean passed away? Yes, of course. No non-native English speaker here. You always have to interpret the thing that I say about that. Paul, my condolences. Thank you. Amir, I have cats. I had cats as well. I had one cat. Well, it's okay. It's behind. It's behind. What happened to Jake Yonce? I have no idea. I can give you my hunch. My hunch is that at that age, if I was in his position, I would have been very pumped up about the money and the success, only to find out that they really take the time they get. At some point at that age, the world has so much to offer to you that why would you want to spend all of your time making videos online and getting a ton of backlash because of it? I think he simply moved on, which is a good thing. I wouldn't mind if he would come back with all the things that he learned. It would be a good redemption story. Paul, I have a question. Why did they not mention that Monique Hart is Lux and Robin's drag mother? Oh. Maybe they're keeping it as a gag for later on? Or maybe they didn't want to... I don't know if that... It always makes me think when things like these happen, because it highlights a queen. When you take a queen like Mo, which has been very successful, it would really put emphasis on those queens if they said, hey, she's their drag mother. So I don't know, maybe they're saving it for later on. I would take advantage of that. If I was producing this, I would have taken advantage for that. I would have probably invited Mo as well. You know. Belsky, he concentrates on his deep dive project. I don't know that. I don't really follow him. Maybe they didn't want to be overshadowed by their drag mother. No, I don't think they would be overshadowed. I mean, this season is about them. But last time, I remember the very first time we had a drag family relation on Drag Race, and it was not mentioned, and it didn't end well, and it was Dax from season 8. She was Violet drag mother, and it was not mentioned until I think they did a photo shoot with all of the past winners, and at that point she was allowed to say she's my drag daughter. That's it. No emphasis, no pictures, no nothing, and it didn't end well. Nina and Angeria were very close friends, and they totally avoided it. Which Nina? At this point, we have like one Nina per season. Then again, we had seen Tamisha Iman and Lala Ree being drag mother and drag daughter. That was never really mentioned. Yes, I remember that Lala said that she put me in drag for the first time, which, looking back, it was very telling that she used those specific set of words. She put me in drag for the first time, or something to that effect. I don't know if I'm quoting correctly, but it was very telling. By the way, I don't know if you guys went on Reddit. I haven't been on Reddit in ages. I went today to see if they had, like, sometimes there is a user, which I mentioned it a couple of times on the channel, which brings down bullet points from the Roscoe show, because I haven't seen it yet. So if there was some good information to put into the review, it would have been very useful. So I went on the drama subreddit, and it looked like mayhem happened again with Tamisha. So I don't know if any of you had the tea. I tried to read something about it, and after 2 minutes I started to get a headache, and I was like, no, I cannot do that. I'm sorry. I'm sure it's interesting, but I cannot do that. D15, are you glad that Raja won Canada versus the world? I was at the finale viewing show in Montreal, and I was crying my heart out. I've been rooting for her since season 11, and I'm so glad she got that Canadians dollars. I didn't watch Canada versus the world. I'm happy that Raja won, absolutely. I would have been happy if almost all of those queens but one won that crown. I don't have a problem with that. But I didn't watch it on principle. Because the resident queen of Puerto Vallarta was there. And apart from the edit that she got in season 11, which was fucked up. What they did to her was fucked up. I'm not going to deny that. Her attitude, the whole incident in Puerto Vallarta and everything that went after that, the cover-ups, the lies, the ignoring things. Then she got this amazing edit on Drag Race All-Star 6, only to come back and misconstrue Lady British when she was teasing Angeria because they were friends and that's what friends do. But apparently, according to the resident queen, she was being a racist and whatever it is, and with this usual attitude of I need to find something to be outraged about because maybe I'm fading into obscurity again, and I need to have people a little bit engaged in what I do. And I'm like, you're 30 years old. When are you going to learn not to pull this bullshit? I mean, at this point, I don't want to push things on people, but at this point I'm seriously asking myself, are you behaving like this because it's a choice? Or do you have some sort of problem that cause you to behave like this? So I don't know which one of the two it is. What I do know is that she gets on my nerves, and that it's unforgivable when people monopolize. Is that the right word? Weaponize. When people weaponize issues like these, I hate it. I really hate it. It's a disgusting practice to me. Because people spend real energy trying to change things, trying to make other people understand. And by other people, I also mean me. I asked stupid questions about important issues because I was ignorant of most of those. And people spend time and energy explaining them to me. And if they become important to me. I spend time and energy explaining them to others, because change doesn't happen just because tomorrow somebody creates an hashtag and everybody likes the hashtag and then, there you go, change. It doesn't work like that. It works from person to person. And the moment you weaponize these issues and misconstrue what other people do for personal gain, we are done. We are just done. So I didn't watch it. It was my form of protest, if you will, which is a pity because I was really curious to see how the other queens would have been doing in that, especially Victoria Scone, because we didn't see much on UK season 3. I like the fact that Anita got a second chance, absolutely, but no. I'm tired of this bullshit. You know what I mean? I am patient, I am understanding. Every time I have a critique for somebody, I also take care of going to the other side and bring a second point of view in order to measure what I'm saying. But I literally had enough with Silky Ganache. I don't ever want to see that person in my entertainment. That's just it. That's just what I think. San, Grandpa is not playing. Are you done calling me Grandpa? My God. I am not that old. I can assure you. Even though it would be a relief if I was. That much I can tell you. Definitely some things would have been easier. Do you think Poppy might go home soon? Because she's kind of sort of like Willow Pill. I think they're sleeping on Poppy a little bit. I think they're sleeping on her. She basically disappeared from the edit. Which, I mean, if we can find a reason for that, like you disappeared because then we put you on the top, or we put you in a high position, and you did very well in your talent, and then it makes sense. If we can find a reason why those people disappeared from the edit, then it's still an okay thing. With Poppy is almost, it's I didn't find a reason because she was not in the top at the end. So it could be, or maybe they are saving her for later on. This is also a possibility. It's just too soon to tell. Do you like Daddy more? How about Matt? I chose a name for myself. That's okay. I mean, you can call me Grandpa. I don't have a problem with that. I just find how did you come to that? How did it start? Do you want father? Dad? Sen, you're drunk. Stop drinking. Sen, you're drunk. Since you're not a fan of Grandpa. Lisa, Poppy is the more polished version of Amethyst. Oh, don't say it like that. But they seem to be focusing on Amethyst, who reminds me of a young Jerry Lewis. Damn. I don't know what's with Amethyst, which, by the way, it's a type of quartz. I don't know. She looks so different. I don't know. I'm drawn in. She makes me smile. I see Amethyst and I smile. I don't know why. Sometimes it just happens. So I don't think they're even comparable. There is a difference in experience. There is a difference in age. Is there a difference in age? That's something that I need to check. I have a feeling that there is, but I'm not sure. So I don't know. I certainly don't see Amethyst in the top 4. That much I can agree with you. But, sometimes my wish get granted. Except when I asked for Candy Muse to win season 13. We didn't have that. But, you cannot have everything. Sen, I did not even see your comment, Weaselman. Lovish, do you think Amethyst deserved the bottom 2? Well, It depends. Are you asking me if I feel like she deserved the bottom two, or if I really have like a reasonable reason to say she should have been in the bottom two? Uh, because the feeling for me is no. I mean, yes, I get it. It was a wasted opportunity. She didn't do much apart from the baby. But the number itself was cohesive, which was the important thing for me. It just felt unfinished. So for me, she did not deserve to be in the bottom. Because when I watch, I don't want, when I watch the talent, I want to be drawn in. I want to live the fantasy. I want to be in the jantasy. So if the number is not cohesive, like, for example, if your lyrics have really nothing to do with what you are doing, and they feel like a last minute thought that you just say, okay, I have $2,000, make a something for me. I need to go on Drag Race. All of these things take me out of the illusion. So this is how I judge this thing. But then again, it's my personal opinion. For me, no. For me, no. There were much better candidates for that. At least Amethyst had a high and a low. Other people only had a low for me. Estella, I'm not over about Jada not being in the top 4 for all winners. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for saying that. You know, last week I was talking with my partner, and for some reason he started saying, "Oh, you know, you don't hear that much about that winner of Drag Race, and that winner of Drag Race, and that winner of Drag Race." And then he looked at me, took a pause, and said, "Well, I don't hear that much about Jada as well." And I was like, well, at least you put the effort. At least you put the effort. D15, is it about the nose? It might be about the nose. Are the nostrils drawing you in? That's her breathing. Could you stop being ableist? But no jokes, every single person to whom I showed Amethyst pointed the nose. I don't know. I just look at her and she puts a smile on my face. I don't know where it come from. She looks funny. I don't know how else to say it. I don't know how else to say it. She has a very peculiar face. Let's say it like this. That's a face that you don't forget. And I like that. That's what draws me in. Like, if I see a face that I'm like, there are a million other faces like that, which usually happens when people, I don't know. I don't know how to say it, but there is like a prototypical twink today, and all twinks look the same. And I'm not saying this to be funny. I'm saying this to say that I have difficulties in understand who's who because they look the same to me. So I don't know. Maybe that's one of the reasons why I like Amethyst so much, because you cannot confuse her. It could be. It could be. Jonathan, I'm catching up on the live stream. Did you talk about Salina's S titties edit was very intrusive? I see her always bitch facing, eye rolling, you name it. I didn't notice that. I didn't have that impression, so I didn't really talk about it. What I did talk about, well, it was more a remark on the fact that when you're loud and you're Latina, it doesn't end up well for you on Drag Race. But if you say that you noticed something and something starts to come up, we will definitely dive into that. If they start doing bullshit, we will dive into that, as usual. Alex, someone said she looks like Jack Antonoff in a wig. I don't know who that is, but it sounds funny. Not coming for Sugar Spice's gig. They are indistinguishable twinks in this universe. I don't know. When I see them, I keep thinking of Ariel Versace and things about Ariel Versace that I cannot communicate in a live stream. And comments on Reddit about the things done by Ariel Versace. I don't know. When I see Sugar and Spice, my mind says yes, and then the comments appear under. I cannot stop it. I'm sorry. Lovish, are we getting a deep dive of this season? Well, if something major happens, like what started happening to Alyssa Hunter last season, or the way they edited Diabetes, major things like these, where people get really railed up and make, either the edit is trying to push a false narrative a little bit too much, or where people trying to overreact a little bit of what's happening on the screen. So if something major happens, I will take the time and find the time to dive into that. That is for sure. But I cannot do the things that I used to do before. For example, I cannot track confessionals anymore. That is one of the most work-intensive part of doing this kind of review, and this is also one of the reasons why nobody really tracks confessionals, because it's a lot of fucking work. It pays off because you get to a point in which you can come on screen and say, this is a false narrative, they are lying, and not get sued for it, because it is true and you can demonstrate it. So it's a very, very powerful tool. It's also incredibly time consuming, and also since they mismatch confessionals constantly, one of the things that happens is that you get spoiled, because you get in episode 1, for example, and you find 4 different confessionals of a queen. And you know that, okay, maybe one was the refilmed confessional, maybe one was from day 1, maybe one is for, okay, day 2. If they still film confessionals every day, which I doubt, then, there is still one more. How do you justify it? Well, she's not going home. She's not going home, period. So, there are highs and lows, but we will see. We will make it up as it goes. And take one thing at a time, because if I start trying to do too much, then I start to try to overwork, and that doesn't work. It doesn't work. But we will see about that. Don't worry. I will keep my eyes open. Remember, this is first and foremost an activist channel against the edit. D15. So you identify them as passing party bottoms? Oh my god, you are so shady. You are so shady. That was Jeffrey Moran, the one from the vodka, do you remember? I remember the comments on Reddit back in the day when people came in like out of nowhere. Like, that's pass around party bottom Jeffrey Moran. Paul, I see zero difference between Spice and Aquaria out of and in drag. Has anyone seen them in the same room? Oh my god. You know what I like about this? That you are saying this. I'm not saying anything. I'm not saying anything. Apart from the fact that I don't think they make for... No, they actually make for good TV, because they make people talk. They don't make good entertainment for me yet. If something major starts happening, like, but I don't think so. They have like their persona down, so unless they're going to crack under pressure, this is going to be interesting. This can go in many different ways. For the moment, I can tell you, episode 1 and episode 2, there was so much emphasis on the two of them that every second they appeared on screen, I was like, yes, but there are also 14 other queens. Can I see somebody else, please? Good lord. Whenever I look at the twins, I just see a horror. Grover, I was just thinking about your channel because it's Sunday and Drag Race aired 2 days ago. Your brain did the math for you and brought you the thought. I didn't prepare any lime water. I need to get limes for next week. I guess that's right. Yes, that's right. Is your water sponsored by Irene Dubois? But I have no ice on it. But I could call it Irene water. Waterine? No, it doesn't sound good. No, it's just water. It's just water filtered in a Brita filter. No sponsor. It's just a good product. Because the water that we get here from the sink, it's a little heavy. So we filter it. And then we have, what's the name of that? I don't know the name. It puts CO2 in the water, makes it sparkling. I like it. And we don't buy bottles anymore, which is even better because first of all, you need to carry the fucking bottles. And then when you're done with it, you are trashing them. So you're generating even more trash for fucking water, which we drinks a lot of it. Tahel, any thoughts on Dragula Titans? It was the time of my life. It was fantastic. It was so good. I am so happy for the Boulet. I am really happy for them because they're getting the recognition that they deserve. Now, it's not the same show that it was in season 1 and season 2, but it's very close to it. And that is an excellent compromise considering that they got picked up by what is it? Crave? Not Crave. But they got picked up by a network, so they're basically getting network money. And you know that when a network gets involved, it's going to change a little bit the way you do things because they have a saying in the production. So considering the fact that they have to make those compromises, they still kept the show incredibly real. And I think this is the main difference between Drag Race and Dragula, apart from the style and apart from the main themes and everything else. The Boulet are primarily invested. They work on it. They do the interviews in the confessionals. They go on tour with these queens. This is their child. RuPaul was paid to do Drag Race. The Boulet created Dragula. That is the difference. There is a difference attachment. You know, if RuPaul was attached to Drag Race the same way she's attached to money, it would be a very different show because she has a huge saying on what's going on in there. She is RuPaul after all. Her name is a brand and a registered trademark, which is licensed to World of Wonder, VH1, MTV, whoever the fuck hears it today. Let's just say the Vacuum CBS Corporation and call it a day. But it's two very different things. Gregory, for 6 PIN. Baby, nice to have you here. Sorry, I'm just laughing at my ignorance, not at you. Nice to have you here again. Will you watch Miss Universe? Do you like it? Would you review it? No, I don't like pageants. I find them incredibly boring. It's not entertaining to me. Do we have a section on the Discord about Miss Universe? Because I think I saw something like that. I think it was mentioned already. Irene, do bottle water. Titans had the perfect amount of drama. It was really good. There was a ton of effort behind it. The queens kept it real. Mostly. Some queens are always going to produce themselves. It's inevitable. But all in all, it was a very good show. I just love Dragula. I love what they're doing. I like the effort that they put into it. I appreciate that it feels like the way Drag Race felt the first time that I watched it. Like, it felt truthful, if you know what I mean. So it's a pity that not many people are into the horror genre. That it's a pity, because it can be off-putting, and you would lose everything behind it. You would lose this amazing queens. You would lose the creativity that they have, because they make absolutely everything. You lose how genuine it is, like, and the respect that there is for the art. I mean, now, yes, we have trans queens on Drag Race, but that happened after we pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed, and now it's normalized. Nobody told the Boulet brothers anything like that. So they immediately brought in Bio Queen, they brought in a drag king, trans queens. Well, granted, they were not out yet, but I mean, as if it's normal, you know, without all of those. Do you remember when Gottmik was cast on Drag Race? Anywhere you could have put in that time frame Gottmik on Google, and you would find all of those headlines. First trans queen to compete, first trans man to compete on Drag Race, first this, first that. They did a ton of publicity out of that. And there are a lot of people today who still argue that Gottmik didn't really deserve the top 3. Her being there, top 4, sorry. Her being there was mostly a publicity stunt. So I don't know how much merit there is to that claim, but I think there is enough to at least consider it and evaluate it without dismissing it immediately. The Boulet did all of these things without, you know, going out, releasing massive titles on 1,000 different news sites. Just, it's normal. This is what we do. This is the art. Who gives a shit about the people who do it? If it's good art, it's art. How much did you enjoy Victoria's win? Oh my god, yes. It was fucking time. It was fucking time. I really did enjoy during the reunion. There was not the reunion. They were on the main stage, and the Poulet told her, "You charged us full price for a breastplate." I mean, the moment they buy things from you, I think it's pretty telling already. But the talent of Victoria is undeniable. Tael, Trinity spilled that Raja was read by Michelle in the ball, and she responded back to her saying, "Who are you to judge me? You have no credential other than being the host's best friend." Oh my god. But did that happen in season 11 or in All Stars? Because that's amazing. That's a. Are we thought? But then again, I don't know if you spelled it right. Do you mean Raja Gemini, or do you mean Raja O'Hara? Because my Raja, season 3 Raja, would never say anything like that. It's not that she doesn't have the gut. She is too poised to do that. Oh, she did that. Oh my god. Oh my god. I don't believe it. I cannot believe it. I can't believe it. I'm sorry. I can't believe it. I will not believe it. You cannot say something. You cannot say something like that to Michelle. Maybe it was a joke. Was it a joke? Does anybody have a link? This is unbelievable. Has the world gone completely crazy? Prince Astral, I don't think it happened because we pushed, but because RuPaul royally screwed with that trains flag. Girl, where have you been? Everyone knew this. You don't want to know. And I won't be going back. Raja knows she can say it to Michelle. Not Ru. Could be. Could be. But to me, this is insane. Like, okay, everyone knew. Everyone knows that Michelle is there because she's RuPaul's friend. They have been collaborating for many years. At this point, what is it, 3 decades that they have been collaborating together? They are basically one thing. That's why sometimes we call them Rochelle. But still, I mean, you don't say those things to Michelle. Especially if your check depends, well, not directly on Michelle, but still, I don't know how much the producers would be happy about that. What the hell happened? Dimitri, girl, in the meantime, you all started. I went on a date, fucked and came back. How long are you talking about Drag Race? Well, apparently more than what your lover lasts. So, that's pretty telling. It's a joke. It's a joke. Milagros, Raja addressed it during a brunch, I think. The clip is out there. I need to find it. I really need to find it. Was it some really obscure song you want to see? What's some really obscure song you want to see as a lip sync song on Drag Race? Goodbye Horses. I would really see somebody lip sync to Goodbye Horses, which nobody knows by name. But if you listen to it, well, no, you're too young. You probably won't recognize it. She yelled, "Fire her!" backstage, and allegedly she wasn't joking. Oh my fucking god. I need a link. Like, does somebody have a link? Or a post on Reddit? Oh my god, this is insane. This is insane. Ru also got up for Raja for a glow-in-the-dark runway and was shocked, but they edited it out. Well, we knew that All Winners was a little bit of a shit show, but the fact that it was this much of a shit show, it's appalling to me. It's appalling. Dimitri to sleep. Much love, my date wasn't packing much. So the shade was true. Oh my god. Goodbye Horses as Buffalo Bill. Absolutely. You see, you get it. You must be a grandpa like me. Raja has always been punk since season 3, so I live for that. Oh, me too. I just didn't think she would go that far. Like, you can be who you are, always remembering who pays your checks, you know. So I don't know. I don't know. Q Lazarus. Homemade subs. Exactly. Thank you. This is the link to Trinity telling the story. Oh, I didn't see any link. Did it get blocked? Why does YouTube block link? Oh, yes, because of spam. Oh, shit. Check out videos of Drag Race Tea served with Matt on YouTube. Share all of this stuff. Yeah, but I feel super lazy. I would have preferred to just click on a link. It's also 1:30 in the morning, so I can get excused. But then again, why did the link not appear? Because YouTube blocked it, yes. Let me see if I can... Good lord. YouTube never really manages to make things easier. Like, they change things continuously, they do. But somehow they never get easier. So let me see if I can. But you know, it's weird because theoretically, if the live stream, the chat in the live stream is programmed to block links, at least I should be able to see them and then in the chat and then manually approve them. So it's really weird that YouTube just removes them. I don't even see them. You know, I cannot even moderate them. This is, I don't know. Details, analytics, options, comments, nothing. Maybe I can. It's going to be, so we'll have to make a search on that. Okay. My laziness is not paying off. Let me see. Raja insulting Michelle. Treated attack confirms Raja clapped back at Michelle during All-Star 7. Is this the video? I think so. I'm going to watch it before going to bed because I'm sure it will give me a very good night's sleep. Estella, Willem said that Michelle needed to hear that. Yes, but Michelle is also paid to say most of the things that she says. So is Mamaru, so is Ross. I mean, we review the cryptiques, we make fun of it, we joke on that, but at the end of the day, we all know that probably nobody believes any of those things. They are paid to say them. It's part of their job, so I wouldn't really. I mean, in that position, I do understand maybe there was something else going on between them before, so can be that Michelle went a little bit too hard on something that she was asked to do, and she just enjoyed going a little bit harder on that. It could be many things, but to me, it's shocking. The hilarious Ross Matthew amateur, absolutely. I mean, maybe Michelle was being Michelle in the cryptiques in fashion, and Raja knew her shit and cisgatted. Could be. It could be. But I mean, at that point, at that level, I don't know. Early winner predictions. I have no idea, Gregory. What I can tell you is that we usually have this thing on Drag Race. They bounce back and forth between a fashion-forward winner and a lovable weirdo winner. At least this is something that they have done for the past 4 or 5 years, possibly even more. So if they do that, then possibly we could have a young and talented winner, possibly Lux, since we didn't have a young and talented the season before. But I have no real reason to point to this queen specifically. I am enjoying very much the fact that it's been 2 episodes and I have no idea what's going to happen, and there is no shock value. So I'm kind of enjoying this. For me, it's a step forward. Early prediction, yes, maybe this thing with Lux. Could be. For the rest, anything can happen because I don't know. Somehow they decided to be very random in the choices that we make, that they make for Drag Race. Like, I didn't really understand Bosco in the top 4, in the granted top 3 for last season. I didn't really understand it. I see the appeal, but there was so much around. I didn't really get it. It was questionable to me. Nightmare. It was during the first design challenge, and now we know it was not Raja's time to be in the top, so probably Michelle came up with some bullshit. Could be. It could be during the first design. Oh my god, I remember that. She had that amazing dress with those big shoulders. I don't know how she pulled that. I was impressed. I was very impressed. Lavish, who do you think it's going home next? This is a really hard one. This is a really hard one. I have no idea. I really have no idea. I can tell you, not Baby Doll, the twins, absolutely no. Lux, no. Mistress, no. Lucy, maybe. Even though, I don't know, I saw her and I thought, the professional. She's the professional. So, I don't know. But could be. Sometimes they do this kind of thing. They put you in the bottom episode 1, and then you go home. Or they put you in the bottom episode 1, so that then you have the rising storyline. So I don't know about that. There is nobody that really screams to me, go on first. Not really. I don't know, maybe Aura. Aura... I don't know, it's so difficult. Without the confessional chart, it's so difficult to do predictions. Because if you see the confessional charts, you can at least say, okay, so we saw a lot about this queen. There was a storyline. Okay, she's not going home. Or, hey, there are no confessionals about this queen, so she must not be going home. They will just feature her more in another... It's more difficult. It's incredibly... Sorry, it's easier with the confessional chart. With this, it's incredibly difficult. And the Marble rankings takes at least 3 or 4 episodes to settle down and become effective in their prediction. Surely they don't tell you anything after episode 1. So I have no idea. Right out of the bat, as a pure feeling, I have a bad feeling about Aura. Possibly Selena, and maybe Lucy, maybe. But these are really bad predictions. I heard Hornacia even makes it to the top 2 in all winners too. With Alyssa Summers, and it's a double crowning. Oh my god. Amateur, my god. We all know that RuPaul would never crown someone who is fat. Hispanic or Asian. At this point, I don't even think that it's about RuPaul or about World of Wonder. Because they didn't have many of these problems in other iterations of the franchise. So, at this point, I'm kind of thinking it's the CBS Corporation. Or maybe they're just unlucky. Do you remember last season we all said, well, Cornbread will be in the top 4. She has all the cards to be in the top 4, and then she injured herself and she went home. Estella, which winner would you want to see in the next All-Stars? I want Alyssa Summers. I like that you said, which winner? What did she win? What did she win? Bianca's attention? Oh, God. Do you think Sasha will make it to the top? Or will she be Mayhem Millard? I would like to see her in the top. If only for the fact that she is a mature queen who has everything down. And she's a trans woman. And it's important that we get more of that. Especially if it can be justified by the talent. But I kind of have a feeling that most of the casting of trans men and trans women on Drag Race was more a publicity stunt than a real change in culture. So it's not guaranteed at all, because they achieved what they wanted to achieve. They crowned a trans winner. They had another one in the top already, top 4. So, you know, once you proved that you are not transphobic, there is no need to, you know, put these people in the forefront. Forefront? In full front. So I don't know. I wouldn't have a problem with that if she wasn't top 4. I wouldn't have a problem. Tael, I don't think Willow is coming back for All-Star. Well, never say never. Never say never. An all-winner season, that is something that we're not going to get if the franchise... Well, the franchise will still be there. I don't know if... Well, we will see. But to have an all-winners, unless you get winners from other iterations of the franchise, you are not going to have enough queens. And what they did with the all-winners was not really that good. They could have done so much better, and they didn't. With that said, they probably could have enough queens to make another all-winner season, especially if they have a small cast, like 8 queens, 10s. But maybe in another couple of years, not immediately. My god, I was thinking of Mayhem Miller before. I don't know, from a moment to another, I was like, Mayhem Miller was so hot in that challenge when he wore a beard. Good lord. Okay, enough dick pigging. I think I'm going to bed. I think it's almost time. We clocked at 3 hours. Oh my god. Didn't I want to do this early? Like, am I imagining this? Or didn't I at some point ask, is it okay if we do the chop a little bit early? Like 2 or 3 hours earlier? And I distinctly remember people saying, yeah, it wouldn't be a problem, or I can watch it later. Did it really happen, or did I imagine it? Because I don't really remember. Well, however it is, we are keeping the time. We are keeping the timing. Maybe an hour earlier next week. Otherwise, I won't wake up tomorrow morning, or I will wake up completely destroyed. Anyway, I'll see you back on Sunday. I'll see you on Discord. If you come on Discord, I'll start coming to Discord a little bit more often again. And I will start releasing videos to the channel weekly. So that at least we have a little bit of something. Thank you so much for coming. It was amazing to see so many people coming to the live stream after so much time of being not very active on the channel. I really, really do appreciate that. I was coming into this live stream thinking if 50 people will get a notification and come, I will be lucky because of that. So, but it went better than expected. So thank you so much. I will see you next week. In the meantime, have a great week. If you have any questions, comments, come on Discord, leave a comment in the video. You know how to find me. And I'll see you back next week. Okay? Have a nice week, everyone. Good night.